Have you ever tried making a major business decision using an outdated typo-ridden spreadsheet that someone randomly sent you? It's not very comfortable, right? Today we'll show how to fix that. Welcome back to this series on the 17 principles of the COSO Internal Control Integrated Framework, where we break down each principle in plain language and connect it to real business, risk, audit, and governance situations. In this clip, we're looking at Principle 13, which sits under the information and communication component. Principle 13 states that the organization obtains or generates and uses relevant, quality information to support the functioning of internal control. Essentially, this principle serves as the data engine that turns raw background noise into clear, actionable insight so you don't experience information overload. In plain language, this means making sure you have the right data at the right time and that it's accurate enough to help you do your job safely and efficiently. Think of it as the nervous system of the company. It's the absolute difference between making a smart, fast business decision based on clean, real-time dashboards versus just guessing in the dark. There's a lot of raw data out there. The scope of information that exists in even a single organization is vast. The struggle is making it make sense. You need to establish quality filters and processing paths to transform the noise into signal and from there into actionable insight. Principle 13 is under the information and communication component. Within this component, it serves as the foundational data engine that sits ahead of Principle 14, internal communication, and Principle 15, external communication, in a strict logical sequence. First, under Principle 13, the organization must pull, process, clean, and validate raw data to create high-quality information. Once that quality information exists, Principle 14 ensures that it's communicated internally, down, up, and across the organization to support day-to-day controls. Similarly, Principle 15 ensures that this exact same verified data is structured and shared with external parties like regulators, shareholders, and customers. Without Principle 13, Principles 14 and 15 fail. You simply can't communicate information effectively if the information itself is incorrect, missing, or irrelevant. The three COSO objectives, operations, reporting, and compliance, are the three categories that organizational objectives typically fit into. Let's look at how this principle applies across such objectives. For operational objectives, quality information minimizes operational friction. To run a business effectively, management requires real-time operational data such as inventory turn rates, supply chain disruptions, or system uptime. If production metrics are accurate and timely, plants can dynamically adjust outputs, preventing costly bottlenecks or excessive inventory waste. For reporting objectives, reliable financial and non-financial reporting depends entirely on data integrity. Principle 13 mandates structured data transformation pipelines that eliminate manual compilation mistakes. Standardized reporting layouts reduce the cognitive load on decision makers, giving executives a single source of truth to securely sign off on public disclosures. For compliance objectives, regulatory compliance mandates an airtight audit trail. For example, under anti-money laundering mandates, an organization must capture, process, and flag suspicious financial transactions systematically. Weak information pipelines result in missed regulatory deadlines, unflagged violations, and possible regulatory fines. Weaknesses in this area can cause several distinct failures. They could lead to information asymmetry, where certain departments hold siloed, high-quality data, while executives or risk officers rely on delayed summaries, leaving leadership completely blind to true operational risks. They can trigger bounded rationality and analysis paralysis. If an organization floods its staff with unfiltered, disorganized raw data, essentially data dumping, employees face severe cognitive fatigue, leading to decision paralysis or missed red flags. Finally, it might result in a garbage in, garbage out reality. If data cleansing mechanisms are weak, the organization might build its risk assessments on compromised inputs, causing management to deploy expensive controls to mitigate the wrong risks entirely, while leaving true vulnerabilities potentially exposed. Controls related to this principle might be broken down into specific operational layers. For preventative controls, you might use automated system interface reconciliations, which are validation rules embedded within API middleware, for example, that instantly reject batches of operational data if they contain formatting mismatches, missing fields, or calculation errors. Another is role-based access controls for master data, which restricts access to change master configuration, such as vendor banking details or system product prices, to authorized personnel only. You should also look for required field validation within ERP systems that prevents users from saving an invoice, purchase order, or risk incident report until all mandatory risk scoping data points are populated. For detective controls, a great example is daily automated variance exception reports, where a nightly batch script scans transaction data against baseline tolerances and automatically emails a dashboard highlighting anomalies, data drops, or outliers to compliance officers. There are also independent data quality and completeness audits, which involve periodic SQL queries executed by an independent data analytics team to check the consistency and accuracy of database records against physical source documentation. For corrective controls, you can establish automated error correction routing workflows that detect data rejected during processing, isolate the record in a quarantine log, and instantly assign a remediation ticket to the data owner, maybe with a mandated 24-hour resolution SLA. Another corrective control might be utilizing business continuity and data recovery hot sites, featuring real-time replication of database systems to a cloud-based recovery environment, allowing automated failover to ensure information remains constantly available during an outage. For a risk transfer activity, an organization could secure cyber liability and business interruption insurance designed to cover the financial losses, regulatory fines, and systemic recovery costs associated with a severe data corruption event, ransomware attack, or critical system outage. An organization that does this well might have specific artifacts demonstrating systemic optimization. This could include enterprise data governance blueprints mapping data ownership, data dictionaries, and clear lineage tracking across all core business applications, aligning with frameworks like DAMA, DMBOK. They'll feature an integrated ERP and GRC architecture using unified dashboards that pull real-time operational metrics and feed them into compliance reporting interfaces without manual spreadsheets or human interaction. They might also have formalized data quality SLAs with monitored KPIs regarding data timeliness, accuracy tolerances, and completeness percentages signed off by distinct business owners. They might maintain complete, unalterable automated systems logs and reconciliation records, proving that continuous system reconciliations are happening daily. For management, this principle means stepping out of the role of a passive data consumer and stepping into the role of a data architect. Management needs to explicitly define what data is necessary to manage risks and execute controls. They can't treat data quality as an IT problem. They must actively invest in integrated systems, establish rigid data governance protocols, build automated transformation pipelines that turn raw data into a reliable strategic asset, and ultimately own the process. For auditors, validating this principle means looking beyond standard checklists and embracing critical systems thinking. Don't just verify that a control happened, audit the integrity of the data fueling that control. Internal audit must verify the data pipeline all the way from data capture to transformation to reporting. If the data feeding an executive dashboard is unverified, a control to review that dashboard is ineffective. Auditors should think critically by mapping COSO Principle 13 to COBIT criteria like integrity, confidentiality, and availability to evaluate system-wide informational health. For the board, Principle 13 provides the structural foundation for fiduciary oversight. The board must protect itself against internal information asymmetry. They can't effectively challenge management if management presents them with hand-picked, unverified, or overly dense metrics designed to obscure underlying issues. The board must hold senior executives accountable for establishing enterprise-wide data governance and ensure that the risk reporting they receive is transparent, accurate, and tied directly to the strategic risks facing the firm. The key takeaway is that data is the lifeblood of modern risk management, but it's only useful if it's accurate, timely, and relevant. Garbage inputs will always yield garbage outputs, and garbage controls. Thanks for joining me in this exploration of COSO ICIF Principle 13. Leave a comment below and click the like button if you found this useful, and subscribe to my channel for more videos on this topic. The next video is going to look at Principle 14, where we explore how this quality information is communicated internally across the entire organization.